Right. Hey, welcome in. I'm actually going to try to use my notes and stay on track today. Let's see how that goes. Let's see. This is a fun topic. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Oh boy, those notes are long. Right. Are you here? Hey, welcome in. Welcome in. Let me know where you're at in the comments. I have the comments on. I should be able to see that you're here. So today we are talking about the full moon, right? I don't know about you, but I didn't sleep very good last night. It was a full moon. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about why these things matter. Um, I want to say this super clearly. Light is not spiritual fluff, okay? It's biology. And it's we'll talk about some of the science and like I'm not a big science geek, so we're going to keep it simple. Morning sunlight hits the retina. Its signals travel through the optic nerve. They reach that SCN part of the brain that regulates your circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm controls cortisol, it controls serotonin, that's your feel good hormone, it controls melatonin that makes you go to sleep at night, controls reproductive hormones, thyroid function, insulin sensitivity. All of these things are directly connected to light. So let's talk about it.
If you're ready to take back control of your health, you are in the right place. Welcome to Awaken Wellness with me, Tanya Candy, registered nurse and health coach. Now, I'm not your typical nurse. I consider myself divorced from traditional healthcare. I broke free of the sick care system in 2019 when I realized that the root cause to my sickness, my autoimmune disease, and my chronic pain was me. If you're ready for truth, for clarity, for honesty in a tough, love, compassionate way, I'm the coach for you. Join me while we dig into our root causes of sickness and disease.
Okay, so last night was the full moon. It was called the worm moon. And somewhere around the globe, people may have even seen an eclipse, right? I didn't see it. I was asleep. I didn't see any kind of eclipse. There's so many things going on right now. The markets are shaky, the crypto markets are super low. The headlines are ugly and heavy. The Middle East, the conflicts, all of the things. The energy just kind of feels dark and shaky. And a lot of people are asking, who do I trust? What do I trust? It would be really easy and normal for any of us to get caught up in this ugly energy, to get caught up in fear, right? But one thing I want us to really reflect on today as we're talking is the patterns, the things that we can trust, right? The creator of heaven and earth, what he put into place to give us signals, to give us signs. This morning, just like every morning, the sun rose. Some days it's a little bit sunnier, some days it's overcast and feels kind of gloomy, but still, every day the sun rises and the moon rises on a predictable schedule. The birds are still singing and waking up, signaling to the earth that the new day is on the horizon. And spring, no matter what's going on in the world, spring is still coming. That's why they call it the moon, is because of this time of year and the ground is starting to wake back up again. So we know, I know, that that one true God who created the sun, the moon, and the stars put them into motion for signs, for seasons, and a rhythm. He does not panic when Wall Street crashes, when the people in the world can't agree about anything. Stay grounded. Okay, again, talking about light, talking about the sun, talking about the moon and the stars, it's not spiritual fluff. It's not hocus pocus. Yes, there are some genres, some groups that have made it something different, something that I choose not to be part of. But when it comes down to it, these things were created by the creator as signs, as signals, right? We talked about sunlight, how it comes into the body, how it signals the brain, how it signals hormones. Those things in a world where people are more and more living indoors with artificial light, who are waking up and maybe not even stepping outside to go to work, or maybe they work a swing shift where they're getting up in the dark and they're coming home in the dark. Those things are so powerful. That light and how our body interprets natural light as well as artificial light is a big thing. So when we're talking about the moon cycles, and let's talk a little bit about what happens on that full moon cycle, why it's a thing. It really is mostly about your serotonin and your melatonin. So serotonin, again, it has to do with the light. It has to do with your gut health, all these things in the body working in tandem. That's your happy hormone, your awake hormone. Your melatonin, most people are aware of, is your sleep hormone. When you rise in melatonin during the evening, your body gets sleepy. It signals repair, cellular repair. Melatonin is a powerful antioxidant. It's immune system modulating. So, what happens during a full moon, that light exposure is shifted. It can be really more subtly shifted. Again, if we are primarily living under fake light and we're not really experiencing that brighter, that moonlight, right? So, I think historically, maybe it affected people harder. It definitely affects animals. In my community, we're a lot of farmers and ranchers, but even in that community has been really reprogrammed by universities, by other things. They've moved away from what generations ago people figured out by living in nature, by watching the animals, by studying the plants. So, anyway, during that full moon, the light exposure at night is shifting, is reducing slightly that melatonin because there's more light in the sky, especially to people who are, like I say, more outdoorsy or know that that light just is as a thing for them. Studies technically show some people will sleep less deeply during that full moon. The light decreases that melatonin in actual controlled sleep studies. It can be a measurable thing. Now, it always makes me think of, for years I worked in corrections, I worked in the hospital setting, and it's a thing, right? We know that people would tend to go a little bit off. during that full moon. More babies are born, whether it's human babies or mammal babies. More births happen during that cycle. We can easily say, if we know, if we remember these things, if we put some logic to it, um, reproductive cycles in females are about 28 days. The lunar cycle is about 29.5 days. That 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 tide, that coming and going, it's not random. That's not a mistake. That is how we were designed to move in rhythm with the earth. Now, again, historically, before all this artificial light, before hormone disruptors, before all of those chemicals and preservatives, people worked when it was daylight. They were home, they rested, they slept when it was evening. But those inventions that we love, we appreciate the light bulb, all of our technology, all of that artificial light has got a huge effect for the last generations ever since these things have come to be. People continue to change and evolve because of these things, our exposures. It does technically change us. Um, Even historically, like in biblical times, or um, well, before modern conveniences, before the hormone disruptors, women tended to either menstruate on that new moon or on the full moon. So they're either ovulating or they're menstruating on those new and full moons, right? And that cycle, it was community wide, right? When it was really, people lived in those clans, they had things called red tents, and the women, they hung out together. The elders took care of the reproductive age females, the younger gals took care, they learned what they were coming into. So that community was a big thing. And that's just not who we are. No, I'm not saying we need to go back to that. We're just saying these things, as humans, we have changed because of our circumstances. We have changed. And our rhythms, our bodies are confused. The outside factors have changed, have evolved, but our bodies, our hormones, our rhythms are seriously confused. And a lot of the things we do to heal our body, we use a lot of supplements. We do a lot of things that to our body feels somewhat forced. When we forget to do the little things, we forget to try to get more natural light, to try to get more natural air. These things are really, really a big deal. um, if you're in that crowd of people that really feels like you've done pretty much everything right, but things aren't working, that's still where I am a lot of days. And I know this, and I've become so much more addicted to getting outside and getting some of that sun. Um, where the winters get harder on you, where I start planning more, I start working harder to figure out how I can live somewhere in the winter that I can be outside comfortably mid-afternoon and experience that sun. What else? Melatonin um, really puts you into that state of repair. So during the full moon, that is just a little bit different, like I say. And we're going to get into more of that parasite talk as we go. So I am here. Let me get my comments open so I can see if anybody's got any questions or anything to add. Let's see. That artificial light really is hard on female. They're delicate anyway. It's really hard. It alters those estrogen and the progesterone balance. It's something that we really need to consider. Um, Whether you're having going through the more end of life phase, the perimenopause, menopause, or you're in maybe you're having some reproductive issues. You need to pay attention to that light. Um, The Red Tent. I already talked about that. That's a really good book. If you like a good kind of fiction, but yet based on history, it's just called The Red Tent. It's a really cool story. Can't remember who wrote that. It's been a long time since I've read it, but it's neat. It's about those biblical tribes and the women who get left out of the story a lot. And the book is just called The Red Tent. Um, see, yeah, I talked about that. Endocrine receptors, we touched on that, and that's not something I want to go really deep in here. I want to get back to the parasite part, the full moon part a little bit, but those endocrine disruptors, it is a big thing. Your plastics, your phthalates, your PFAS, your pesticides, all of those things can mimic estrogen, and especially when they can't get out of the body, when the bile is sluggish, when the liver is toxic, when there's constipation in play, it just really, really gets overburdened and confusing for the body, right? Hormones, they get the blame for everything these days, but we forget the why, the why, the root cause. Why are they disrupted in the first place? What could we be doing different? All right, let's get a little bit more into this parasites. There is some science to it for sure. I know a lot of people might think it's this all woo woo and all this parasite talk. We know that the universal test for parasites is this. All you do is put your hand here, kind of right on that base of your neck, and slide down. There you go. Are you doing it with me? When you find that pulse, that's it. That's your indication that you have a parasite. I know that's kind of a smart ass way of saying that we all have parasites, but whether or not we're overburdened with them or whether we're living in balance with them, I'm not saying that everybody needs to do an aggressive parasite cleanse. I am saying that I believe that the root cause of every sickness and disease is at the base parasitic. And when I say that, I mean it very broad. To me, that's a broad umbrella, meaning anything that is stealing from your body, stealing nutrition, one, and causing waste, overburdening that waste. Everything that is organic creates waste. Even cellular, every day we create waste, cellular respiration, and our body has to deal with that. But when there's actual parasites, when there's mold, when there's yeast, when there's candida, all of those things in my umbrella fit under parasites. They are not good when they're active and living in your body, and they cause your body to decompose, right? These are things that in your compost pile need to be there in order to break down plant matter back into soil, right? So when that is overburdened, when your terrain is out of balance, there's too much waste being created in the body by these microbes, and they're taking what little nutrition is left in our food, they're taking it first, right? So they're causing disease by producing waste as well as starving the cellular benefit. Now we know that we do need microbes. We we know that You could eat a beautiful organic salad, and the nutrition in that plant matter doesn't accidentally fall out of it and fall into your body, right? We know that this is a composting activity. We know that the microbes in your gut specifically have to break down that plant matter. They have to ferment it into a usable source, right? So a lot of times, um, vitamins and supplements, they can get a bad rap because they were technically fermented in a lab, like so your body could use them, right? So it's all in balance, and we all have to find our way through all of this, and we'll have seasons of things that work for us, and it'll stop working. That's absolutely normal. That's absolutely natural. Okay, let me get back to my notes. Um, we've talked about melatonin, how it modulates your immune response, how it your body starts to make more of it in the evening as that sunlight changes. So if you're screwed up, if you know you're screwed up, if you have sleep issues, you have hormone issues, a simple thing that you can do, and it's super important to know that that red in the sky is important, and sometimes that's why people use artificial red light. It is important. So in the sky on the horizon, when that color is changing and you see the pink, your eyes need to see that so your brain can interpret it. That when that happens in the morning, when it happens at night. Even better if you can pair that with getting out when the sun is high in the day, when you can't really look at it with eyes open, when it makes you squint, and it only takes a few minutes, but that signals your brain as well. The sun has got different rays during those times of the day that are going to signal your circadian rhythm. And the full moon, that's just a little bit different. So it plays in, but when you're really good and stable and healthy, you're not going to fall apart every full moon. If you're falling apart every full moon, like there's some stuff that it needs to be worked on. There's some things out of balance. So trying to get in some kind of rhythm, that melatonin and your immune system so connected. Parasites themselves have their own activity, like circadian rhythm, their active cycles. And like they're more active at night, like things like restless leg, digestive issues. Some people who really get off into maybe the woods or just maybe truth, who knows? A lot of people think that even when you're laying still at night, and that weight, wherever you're weighted to your bed or you're heavier, then things kind of start to pool. And maybe they're connected, those creepy crawlies or restless legs, maybe are connected to parasites. Maybe not. Or grinding your teeth at night. Other things that definitely a lot of my mentors and people in this space connect to parasites. Parasites are living organisms and they want to survive. They are survivors. They are not easy to kill off. Um, they become part of your ecosystem. So they can disrupt your sleep. They can disrupt your immune system. They can disrupt your hormones. All of these things shift. So again, when melatonin drops, your immune system changes, your serotonin changes, and that can cause that full moon party where those parasites want to party. Like, um, your melatonin is depleted, your serotonin is a little bit higher, and they feed off of that. They love it. I'm going to give you 10 possible signs and symptoms that can be related to parasite activities. So, last night was a full moon. did you have a heightened in these symptoms? And now it's not one thing, right? It's just not one day. So when we're doing maintenance, when we're doing cleansing, we always do at least the day before, the day of, the day after. If you're going harder, if you're going deeper, you're going to do that whole week, putting the full moon in the middle. Okay, so 10 possible symptoms. Itchy butt. Itchy butt, in whether you're a kid or you're an adult. I mean, nobody wants to say it, nobody wants to talk about it, but that itchy butt, especially at night. Restless sleep, teeth grinding, skin itchy crawly, extra sugar cravings, or yeast cravings, bloating in the abdomen, mood swings. Most people don't get happier during this time. They get grouchier, they get sassier, they get naughty, right? Naughty looks different when you're 2 than it does when you're 50, but people get naughty. More anxiety, like really anxiety that just doesn't fit, that doesn't make sense, that you can't explain. Fatigue, some people just get desperately blah. Like it can go completely opposite from wanting to be naughty and stay out and party all night to like just wanting to hibernate. Like you can't get yourself out of the couch, you can't get motivated, and a change in libido. And that can go either way too, especially when we're pairing this whole conversation, when we're pairing the full moon cycle to female rhythm. Whether a full moon, they can either be ovulating or menstruating, like either one, full moon, new moon, right? So when we compare to the female sex, like the animal kingdom, and I say this often, and it's crazy how people will just like have this aha moment, right? Here we're in Montana, we know quite a bit about animal behavior, whether it's horses or cows or dogs or any of that, right? From an animalistic procreation sense, um, if you turn your stud out with your mare and she's not in season, she's not ovulating, what does she do? Right? She kicks the crap out of him. She doesn't want anything to do with him. She turns and, either beats him up or leaves, either one. Same with a cow, same with a dog. So when we talk about women, yes, we do all desire sex for recreation, for fun, right? But from a biology standpoint, and if we're trying to move away from artificial birth control, if you're trying to pay attention to your rhythm, a lot of people get involved. They take their temperature, they do all this and they do all that. But if you get back to human nature and your that part of that animalistic cycle for women, basically, if you're wanting that, if you're wanting that encounter, if you're more motivated, if he's all of a sudden cute and you want to be cuddly and you're wanting that encounter, there's a pretty good chance you're ovulating. I say all the time, I do think that's really the connection between people who lose their virginity and get pregnant on the same night. Just basic animal instincts. So if you're trying to stay away from birth control, if you're trying to do things natural, unfortunately for women, when you really feel like it, that's probably when you should go sleep in the next bedroom if you're not wanting to have another child 9 months later, right? So for women, we're always trying to kind of fight that basic biology just because of the human component. But if we get back to thinking about the animalistic nature of it, Then we come back to the full moon. So many people are ovulating around that time or menstruating, either one. And that's natural. That is a 28-day cycle, similar to the moon, 29, 28 days, right around in there. Even in old cultures, they will call it your moon cycle. They call it that for a reason. So then again, we had modern technology, modern medicine come in and say, here you go. I know this thing is inconvenient for you. You want to do what you want to do on your terms. So we can give you this pill and we can shut down your moon, right? Okay, so I wasn't necessarily thinking that this is the way the conversation would go, but here we go. So, again, logically thinking about the sun, the moon, the stars, the tide, all of that rhythm of the earth. Now, if someone from the science department created a pill and shut down the tide, just said, this is inconvenient. We're just going to do away with this because we're that smart, because we can give you this pill that will change the tide from coming in. Now, I don't know much about tide, but now you can go fish, you can go swim, you can do what you want. You don't have to be inconvenienced by this tide. The whole ecosystem would change. The whole ecosystem. Well, maybe some people would call that global warming, right? Because there's someone somewhere manipulating the sun, the moon, the stars, so they act differently, right? The same with the female body. So if you had a brilliant scientific discovery and it gave you this magic pill that you could stop your moon, you could stop your tide, how in the world can we assume that that doesn't affect every other system in your body? When you were designed by the creator to be one, to for everything to work in synergy at the age you became menstruating, the age you lost your menstruation, all of that was ordained by the creator, right? But out of convenience, I get it. I mean, in my past, I probably would have made really different choices had I known then what I know now. But if you're at that age where you can do something different, you do know something different, it's just really important to listen. That is not in my notes. Let me go look back at my notes here. Oh, back to us being mammals, being created by the one and only true God, and living here on this planet or in the matrix, or however you look at it. Every mammal God created, every plant, every being follows the rhythm of light, of the sunlight and the moonlight and the changes of the day, the changes of the season. Artificial daylight is really a bigger thing than we realize. So, again, I challenge you to first thing in the morning, whether it's through a window or a lot of times I just go outside in my pajamas. I don't last long, about 30 seconds. That's about as long as I can do a cold plunge. Go out, no coat, no shoes, and just out the south side of the house, get that first bit of sunlight. Then I go in and I drink my water, have my minerals, and start the coffee pot, right? At night, I'm a little bit less apt to do that but you've been out during the day, right? And trying to get out mid-afternoon and just expose yourself, just your eyes to your brain connection. A simple, simple thing that we can all start to do. Watch your blue lights, right? Even these reading glasses I have a little blue light blocker. I just ordered for my cell phone a screen that is supposed to be a blue light blocker, but I know it will change the color of everything, so we'll see. We'll see how I like it. In the evening, I have them. I haven't really gotten good at implementing them, but the different colored glasses, right? And I do think this is a big thing for me. So everything that I've done right in my path, still those hormones still need to be balanced. Still have that bit of resistant weight. So it comes down then to light. It comes down to frequency and trying to get these things in balance. Um, let's see. Let's close this out. All right. A question for you. Is it coincidence that the female body cycles in that harmony or out of harmony with the moon? Those should be questions for you. I don't think it's coincidence. I think we were designed to work in that rhythm. And living in disrupted from nature, is not your destiny. You can change these things. At the age where you're no longer cycling, even sometimes the way you eat, you can mimic that cycle, right? We know that things like sweet potatoes help us build progesterone. These are things we still need. So, one of my favorite authors on this subject is Mindy Pelz. So, Dr. Mindy Pelz. She's got a book called Fast Like a Girl and a book called Age Like a Girl. If these are subjects that you'd like to go deeper in, that you're more curious about, she's my go to. Such a good resource. Um, let's see, I can't think of other, off the top of my head other people that I like to listen to on the topic of light. Oh, sorry, I won't come up with it. There's a great podcast, and I have bought some of her courses. What is it, Sarah? I'm blank. I can't think of it. But she does a course on leptin resistance and a course on light. So all of these things are something that we can pay attention to. The parasite part of it, if you follow me, you know how I feel about that. I feel everybody should do a 120-day reset, a 120-day foundation. Now, that from my perspective, in my group coaching, we go deep. We go into the light. We go into the hormones. We go into the food. We go into the lifestyle enhancements. It's an amazing 6-month self guided program. It's called the Great Health Reset. We meet live once a week as an accountability and question and answer class. We meet live. I just recently changed that. We were doing Sunday evenings and it was hard for family time. When you get a group of people together, there's no perfect time for everybody. So, but there always is the replay. And when you work with me in that group program, you get access through Boxer, and through the Education Vault. So I'm very accessible, even if you can't make it to the live meetings. That is a absolutely phenomenal foundational program. It is a 4-month at a minimum supplement, CellCore, where you go through the deep cellular level detox and parasite cleanse. After that 4 months, we work together to figure out what maintenance looks like. Now, this program is designed for healthy people who want to get healthier. So it's not designed for the chronically ill or like unstable people with Lyme and mold and those kind of things. I should say that differently. It is a good foundation for chronically ill people, but they're not going to finish it in 4 to 6 months. They're going to be working with me on the next level. They're going to go deeper, but it's still a perfect foundation. I often say it's like a really good engine overhaul, right? More than an oil change. It's where you're going deeper. You're really taking care of that engine and detoxing. Now, do you need to do that once a year? No, I absolutely do not feel you need to do that once a year. If you've done my program and you're still walking out those enhanced lifestyle enhancements, you're not going back to your old you that was lagging behind in the first place, right? So if you are moving forward with a new, healthier, more educated version of yourself, then no. If you slip right back into eating fast food and eating out of a bag and basically, average humans what they do, then are you going to need to do the whole 4 months again? Yes. Yes, you are. Or, like I said, if you're chronically ill, if you have autoimmune disease, if you've got a history of cancer, then we go deeper. You do that 4 month foundation, and that's just the start. Then we go deeper. Now, I do still work with people one to one, and I love that. You're welcome to work with me one to one. This group module is amazing because um, everything that I've found out, everything that I've learned over the last 7 years of working with people, with my own health experience, I put into these videos. So, and there's a workbook. So depending on what kind of learner you are, if you don't have time, if you don't enjoy watching videos, then there's a self-paced workbook that is really comprehensive. And no, you never have to do both. You don't have to do any of it. You can get in there, you can pick and choose. You can commit to the supplements and only do a little bit of the lifestyle enhancement, or you can go all lifestyle and hardly do the supplements. It is absolutely your program, and I'm going to help guide you through it and help you figure it out how it works for you personally. Now, if you follow me on social media, if you're on my email list, you're going to see a spring promotion coming. So I'm going to have a really good discount on the Great Health Reset. There's going to be some free gifts offered. There's going to be the biggest discount you'll ever see me do, because spring is the best time to do this. You can do it anytime, but spring is really you're more motivated, and your body is coming into a time where it naturally wants to cleanse. Spring and fall, but I think people are definitely they're looking for everything to reawaken in the spring. So I find myself and clients are much more successful right around this time of year. So if you're not on my email list, get there. Get there, get on my email list. Just go to awakenwellnessllc.com, go to under the virtual, and then go to the group coaching programs. Be following me on Facebook. You're going to see some of those coupons. I am going to have a deeper discount for the people who have already dabbled in working with me. So I'm going to reward my existing community a little bit deeper, and then if you're just now finding me, I'm still going to reward you as well. But thank you for being here. And as always, the best way to support a small business here in the way we do things is a like, a share, a follow. So that's the way that you tip me and all of the other small businesses that you do business with. Do a Google review. It means so much. It's absolutely the best tip that we can get. Thank you, and I'll see you next week, the same time, the same place.